Hi! Happy New Year, you cute little scoundrels! There's one art program that reigns as the most popular and free program out there, and that is Ibis Paint X. You guys have asked me over and over to please try out Ibis Paint. So here it is, the video of me trying Ibis Paint X out for the first time. Upon opening Ibis Paint, I was bombarded with some ads. There was also this interesting daily rankings type of thing. I guess it's like the top drawings of the day, which is pretty cool, I think. Although I have heard that some people have tried to pass my art as theirs on this, so that's not cool. Don't do that, please. I found out that you can create a new canvas by going to gallery and then pressing the plus sign at the bottom here. Oh, that's a lot of options. Okay, I just put in my normal canvas size, which was 2000 pixels by 2500 pixels. But it was pretty cool how they gave recommended canvas sizes for different things like Twitter headers and several paper sizes. I think I'm gonna give Ibis Paint 1 brownie point for that. So I hit OK and braced myself for the drawing interface. And I was actually pleasantly surprised by how clean and spacious it was so far. You can easily adjust the size of your brush, the opacity, and switch between the brush and eraser. So I started out drawing random circles and boxes and lines to try and get a feel for the program. I also learned you can access the layers on the bottom right by selecting this button here. Alright, now it's time to check out the brushes. But what's this? If you watch a video, you can use all paid brushes for 18 hours. Oh, so these brushes are all locked here, but if I watch an ad, I can unlock them? Wait, is it one ad per brush? Ooh boy. I ended up watching the ad, and as it turns out, you only need to watch one ad and it unlocks all of the brushes. After messing around with a bunch of brushes, I came up with these brushes to save into my custom brushes. I thought this pencil brush would be good for sketching and lining, and these fade and watercolor brushes would work for coloring. I also added a bunch of knickknacks like these prisms, which might be good later on for some effects. As I begin sketching, I struggled to find a way to flip the canvas. I did end up seeing you could flip it in a layer menu, but this only flipped the layer and not the whole drawing. It took much longer in the drawing process for me to realize that I could just select canvas at the bottom left and then flip the drawing. Though I thought there should be a flip button somewhere on the interface just to remove that one extra step. However, on the plus side, I found that lassoing selections and transforming them to be pretty easy. So I'm giving Ibis Paint 1 more brownie point for that. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I'm drawing my OC, Jin. Okay, we've successfully done a sketch. It is time to get to the juicy parts of lining and coloring. But before that, this video is sponsored. So let me briefly tell you about a good old fave of mine, Skillshare. It's a new year and I bet you've got new dreams, ambitions, and goals. Skillshare can help. They have everything you need to take your career, skills, or side hustle to the next level. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives, with thousands of classes led by industry pros in film, illustration, design, and more. And if you have no idea where to start, like me, then don't worry. Skillshare has designed learning paths to help you get from novice to pro in no time. As some of you know, I have an on and off relationship with animation. And luckily, Skillshare has a learning path for just that. It takes you through everything from animating a ball, creating a storyboard, to even character design. If you've ever enjoyed those fun animatics online and wondered how people made them, now you can join me in learning how to create them. So if you want to join me this year in leveling ourselves up, then make sure to click the link in the description below. The first 500 people to use my link will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. And now, back to the video. I measle my way onto lining, and here then begins the real treat of drawing an Ibis Paint. I discovered the holy grail of tools. Hidden behind the special tool was in fact a humble but powerful tool, the Liquify pen. With a simple swish and push, I could push my lines into their correct places and adjust their positions. In fact, I found the tool to be so fun and effective that I am going to give Ibis Paint 1 more brownie point. For a free program, this drawing process was impressively fun and easy to use. Though I should mention, I am drawing on my iPad with a drawing stylus. How on earth do some of you manage to draw on a tiny screen with your finger? I will never understand. The line art is complete, so it's on to the next stage. I decided to just force my way through and fill in the colors by hand. I think the fill bucket tool had some sort of line detection to fill in the lines, but I could not figure it out, so I just gave up and kept scribbling away. I also found out that Ibis Paint had clipping functions. These bad boys let you create a mask so you can color without going outside of the mask. One thing I found myself desperately wishing for was a gradient tool. It might have existed, but it wasn't in a reachable enough place for me to bother looking too hard. I created lighting on the piece using overlay and multiply layers clipped below to the folder holding all of my base colors. Now that I have the mood set, it's time to move ahead to painting. I moved on and tried to merge all my layers down to prepare it for final touches. I struggled finding a way to do so I merged things down one by one. But in the process, I accidentally came across a pretty neat looking effect on my drawing. From the beginning, I had always wanted to test the capability to paint on Ibis Paint. I wasn't going to go all out on the painting, but I just wanted to test its ease of use. But herein lies where the struggle began. I wanted a way to paint in mixed colors using pen pressure and pen pressure opacity. Despite messing with some settings and hacking away at the drawing, I found myself really missing the ease of use to paint on a program like Clip Studio or Photoshop. Things like pen pressure and color mixing is really convenient when you paint. Although there was some you could simulate, it just wasn't as easy. However, one way I found to be able to gain a little control was to use the lasso tool to select an area and softly paint my desired parts. And with the drawing coming to a finish, it's time to see what Ibis Paint has to offer in terms of effects. I found the effects in the filter tool, and some filters were locked behind either ads or a premium service, I presume. No worries, I feel like those available work just fine for my purposes. As I continued messing with lots of effects and brushes, I discovered the free materials provided by Ibis Paint. Now, this was tons of fun. I grabbed a texture to put on top of my painting, as well as cool lighting effects and smoke to emulate a dark aura. I had so much fun with this and may have gone a bit overboard. The free materials definitely gets Ibis Paint another brownie point. And now, I have one final tip for you guys. Although the curves effect is not available, you can add more color depth to your piece by merging everything down and adding a posterize effect on top. Then, blur that layer and set it to overlay or soft light. Turn down the opacity and you have some extra interesting colors added to your painting. Our drawing is finished. So I moved to save the image and discovered that Ibis Paint actually has time lapses too. That is so cool. I think Ibis Paint deserves another brownie point for that. Well, our drawing is now finished. I think it came out pretty cool, and I definitely have to say my experience with IBIS Paint X was fun and refreshing. I really enjoyed drawing on my iPad again. Now, I guess it's time to draw with my finger instead on phone. Never mind. Just no. So, that was a good old time, eh? IBIS Paint is fun. I like it. There's a lot more to unravel about this mystery program, so expect more IBIS Paint videos in the future. And check out some new additions to the fan art gallery. You guys are so heckin' cute and talented. Thank you guys. Well, until next time, I'm wishing you all the best on your journeys of achieving your goals and dreams. Bye!